The women are starting to notice that the men are done, and they're not having any of this mess. They don't want to get involved in a contract that if the other person breaks it, that person benefits. And they don't want to put up with, being a baby daddy or any of that. They don't want to put up with baby mamas. The fact that we have those terms is just still unsettling to me. Welcome back to Far From Eden. So last we met, we were going over this opinion piece from the Washington Post. The title is Men Are Lost, Here's a Map Out of the Wilderness. And it's by Christine Emba. So I think it's fantastic, that's sarcasm, that it's a woman telling the men out of the wilderness. They're not lost. They're in the just because you're in the wilderness doesn't mean you're lost. Sometimes the wilderness is better than wherever you're running from. And that's, anyway, this is her opinion piece. And we talked about it last time. We talked about, it was basically the introduction. And the next part is this, a manly appeal from the right. So this is her idea of what the right, I guess politically speaking, in the United States, what their idea is. I don't know who this right is. Is this like the men of the Daily Wire? Is that who we're talking about? Because they're certainly not the ones to listen to about this. They right now, they think it's all great. Go find a wife, etc. I'm watching. I hope their marriages go well. But they have to know, the men of the Daily Wire, that if their wife's unhappy, the type of power she has to destroy him, take his kids, etc. Like, how do they not recognize that? Anyway, a manly appeal from the right. In 2018, curious about a YouTube personality who had seemingly become famous overnight, I got tickets to a sold-out lecture in DC by Jordan Peterson. If she's going to insult Jordan Peterson, we're going to have a problem. It was one of dozens of stops on the Canadian psychology professor's turned anti-woke juggernaut's book tour for his surprise bestseller, 12 Rules for Life, an antidote to chaos. The crowd was at least 85% male. The remainder seemed to be made up of long-suffering girlfriends. What? Plus moms who had brought their sons in hopes they'd shape up. Yeah, because they need a father figure. She talks about him as the Canadian psychology professor turned anti-woke juggernaut. Okay, I suppose that is how some people see him. Okay. Surrounded by men on a Tuesday night, I wondered aloud what the fuss was about. In my opinion, Peterson served up fairly banal advice. Stand up straight, delay gratification. His evolutionary biology-informed takes ranged from amusingly weird to mildly insulting. Parentheses, female lobsters are irresistibly attracted to the top lobster, as are human women. His three-piece suits seemed gimmicky. Okay. The lobster, that's all about hierarchy, and that hierarchies are natural. That's completely lost on her. Banal advice, stand up straight, delay gratification. Well, clearly people need that advice, and it's patriarchal, and I don't mean it in the sense that these leftists call patriarchy. Yes, female lobsters are irresistibly attracted to the top lobster because they want the best lobster babies. And female humans do the same thing. I don't understand why you would deny that. But okay, she was surrounded by men on a Tuesday night. Yeah, well, if you go to some, chick thing, then you'd be surrounded by women on a Tuesday. Why would you even say that? As if men are some kind of like a monster or a parasite, or like it's definitely painting them in a bad light without saying it. His three-piece suits seem gimmicky. Well, they would to somebody who, well, you know what? I'm not going to insult her personally. He dresses appropriately. He dresses properly. We in this society are too used to like hoodies being something you would wear to a function. That's, but again, it's because the destroying the nuclear family and the father as the head of that, there was a certain amount of respect that was shown, not just to where you're going, but to yourself and representing your family. So people used to dress appropriately for things. But okay, to her, his three-piece suit seemed gimmicky. I think that says so much more about a person who says that than it does about Jordan Peterson. Suddenly, the 20-something guy in front of me swung around. Jordan Peterson, he told me without a hint of irony in his voice, taught me how to live. Yeah, without a hint of irony. Okay, I'm getting angry at this person. Because she wondered aloud. Remember, she said that she wondered aloud. I forget where she even said that. Mildly insulting. Whatever. Okay. If there's a vacuum in modeling manhood today, Peterson has been one of the boldest in stepping up to fill it. He has gained fame, notoriety, and millions of book sales in the process. And he's only one of many right-aligned masculinity gurus of better and worse quality who have amassed huge audiences over the past decade. 12 rules for life can be for anybody. You know that, right? It's just that men were like, yes, I understand how rules could be good, and women allergic to those types of things. Oh boy. I did not know she was gonna sort of come in here and try to bash Dr. Peterson, and I know that it gets done. I know that people have said horrible things about Dr. Peterson. I know they've tried to cast him as a villain, like he's this anti-woke. He's Canadian. He's pretty, he's not that conservative. He's really not. He's really not. Anyway, or maybe I am, I don't know. There are more straightforwardly political options. Senator Josh Hawley, representative of Missouri, attracted significant notice for a 2021 speech railing against the left's supposed attacks on traditional masculinity, and translated the idea into a book that blames the tribunes of elite opinion for the collapse of American manhood and masculine strength. Hawley's manhood, parentheses, what the heck? The jokes do, rather unfortunately, write themselves, went on sale in May. Why are you making jokes? Why do jokes write themselves? That's why I'm stuttering and messing up, is because I'm mad. Okay, they write themselves, well then I don't get it. I don't get it. What's so funny? Manhood is not funny. Imagine if it was the other way around, seriously. Imagine if a bunch of men were like attacking some female. Imagine if it was Kim Kardashian. Well, that would be misogyny. They couldn't do that. There are fringier individuals, okay, now I guess that's a word, such as the online figure known as Bronze Age Pervert? Never heard of that person. Bronze Age Pervert, BAP for short, real name Costin Alamaru? I have no idea, you guys. I'm sorry, I've never heard of this person. Who became cult famous for his Twitter feed a stream of far-right culture war takes interspersed with homoerotic photos of bodybuilders. BAP's self-published 2018 manifesto, Bronze Age Mindset, teaches readers how to, in the words of Amazon description, escape gynocracy and ascend to fresh mountain air. I mean, that sounds good. What's wrong with that? Through a mix of Nietzsche, questionable readings of antiquity, and a regimen of sun and steel, that is weightlifting and going outside. Yeah. A positive review from Trump administration official Michael Anton turned it into assigned reading for young conservative elites. Well, I don't know anything about that, but I do think that escaping gynocracy and ascending to fresh mountain air sounds good. And I think lifting weights and getting some sun is a great idea when you're inside all the time, like working or on your computer or what have you. What is so wrong with that? Why does it make women angry if one man says to another man, hey, you know what would be good is lift some weights, go outside, you'll feel better. Why is that a manifesto? They're not saying anything about women. They're not talking about you. And that, I think, is why they're mad. Because, and you want to talk about their homoerotic photos of bodybuilders. I have a feeling it was just bodybuilders and inspiration for men to get in shape. You know, the obesity rate is insane. And have you guys seen the difference in Arnold Schwarzenegger's kids, the son that he raised and the son that Maria raised? One's obese and the other one's not. Guess which one? So they're lacking this. Women are also lacking a strong father, but they're not seeking it out. I love Jordan Peterson. I think he's fantastic. Anyway, they're just mad because it's not about them and they want to make it about them. Some right-wing models tip over into obviously unsavory. Last year brought the rise of Andrew Tate. I was waiting for him to come up. The kickboxer and failed Big Brother contestant turned massive social influencer whose extreme misogyny got him booted from TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Getting booted from those things doesn't really, to me, it doesn't mean that you're bad. In fact, when they want to censor you, I want to listen to you. Not because I'm going to agree with you, but I want to know what they're trying to shut up. He's a caricature of masculinity. I would agree with that, with Andrew Tate. Constantly shouting about his sports cars and women, multiple of each naturally, a cigar surgically attached to his hand, but his advice about how to become an alpha male attracted an enormous following of teenage boys to the point that schools were circulating information about how to counteract his message in the classroom. Now that's funny. I'm not a big Andrew Tate fan. I think he is a bit of a caricature. I don't think that, I think, you know, he's admittedly, you know, run like whatever they call them, webcam, like only fools type of companies. And I don't think being a pimp is being an alpha male. I don't think that. I think most men who are in crisis are the family men types or would-be family men types. I think, personally, I think he was a great one to sort of say, see, this is what this whole movement's about. And so you could say, well, it's negative. I think let's put it this way. It's a lot easier for them to attack Andrew Tate and say he's misogynist than it is Jordan Peterson. They have no ground to attack Dr. Peterson. And Andrew Tate is just, I don't look at him as alpha or anything, but I can understand why teenage boys would gravitate towards him. Just like they gravitate towards a gang leader or anything masculine. They're going to gravitate towards anything seemingly masculine. Same as women who choose bad boys. it doesn't mean that's an alpha male. It's a confusion of masculinity. True masculinity is being able to, control some of those urges. Like Genghis Khan, sure, he was masculine, but is that, what you want to strive for? I would say no. I went to that 2018 Peterson appearance as a skeptic, but his appeal, along with that of his fellow manfluencers, has become clearer since. What's notable, you can't put Dr. Peterson in that same group. I'm sorry, that's just ridiculous. What's notable first is their empathy. For all Peterson's barking and lately unhinged tweeting, he's clearly on young men's side. He validates his followers' struggles and confusion. He also tells them why they're still needed and why they matter. Yeah. No, it's not just you. School is tailored to girls. Yes, it does suck that a house and a family feels so out of reach. You're right, it's harder to be a man today. Yes. All of that she said, Peterson said, yes, school is tailored to girls. Anyway, this is especially compelling in a moment when many young men feel their difficulties are often dismissed out of hand as whining from a patriarchy that they don't feel part of. For young men in particular, the assumption of a world built to serve their sex doesn't align with their lived experience. Where girls outachieve them from pre-K to postgraduate studies and men are trash is an acceptable joke. Yeah, but here's the thing. This society has never catered to the men. It's never been, this society was never built to serve men. Men built it to serve families. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So yeah, they're like, everything's against you guys. And yeah, they're noticing that. And at the same time, they're being told, oh, it's the patriarchy. Oh, you're so privileged. Jeez. And she talks about for all his barking. What are you calling him, a dog? Would you want us to say what you're saying is barking? This is especially compelling in a moment when many young men feel their difficulties are often dismissed. Oh, I already read that. I'm sorry. Then there's the point-by-point advice. If young men are looking for direction, these influencers give them a clear script to follow. Hours of video, thousands of book pages, a torrent of social media posts in a moment where uncertainty abounds. The rules aren't particularly unique. Get fit, pick up a skill, talk to women instead of watching porn all day. But if instruction is lacking elsewhere, even basic tips, clean your room, Peterson famously advises, feel like a revelation. Plus, the community that comes with joining a fandom can feel like a buffer against an increasingly atomized world. And that's a woman thing to say, because women like the group. Men aren't doing it for the group. They're not like, oh, I feel like I'm part of a community. If men actually did that, then actually things would change more, because men still come to this channel and say, oh, thank you for telling me I'm not the only one. Because there isn't this community. And it's not a criticism. They're not wired or meant to go out and form like big man groups and, cry about things together. They get things done. Men get things done. Oh boy. As one therapist told me, sorry. How many therapists do you have? Oh, sorry. As one therapist told me, I have used Jordan Peterson to turn a boy into a man. I used him to turn this guy without a strong father figure into someone who, yes, makes his bed and stands up straight and now is successful. The book, she said, The books, she said, do provide a structure that was clearly missing. Hey, yeah, exactly. What's missing now? Wait, what is that that's missing? That would be the father is missing. Who's the father? Oh, that's a man. That's a man that sets sets the rules for the house, sets the standard for the house. Not because he's a tyrant, but because he cares about his family. And so he would require that you clean your room. He would require that you stand up straight. He would require those things. That's what good fathers do. And just like that therapist said, she just used that to help him become a man, because that's what happens. I have many videos talking about how mothers just don't bring boys into manhood. They can't. It's not a detriment. It doesn't mean that they're bad or they didn't try or whatever. They can't. I can't lift 200 pounds. It doesn't mean anything. It's just, I can't, it's just not what we're for. We're meant to complement each other, and they need fathers. Let's see what she had to say about that. Or we're just going to move right along, probably. It's always important that the approach of these male models is both particular and aspirational. Male models. The BAPs and Hollies find ways to celebrate aspects of the male experience, from physical strength to competitiveness to sex as a motivator. That other parts of modern society have either derided as toxic or attempted to explain aren't specific to men at all. At their best, these influencers highlight positive traits that were traditionally associated with maleness: protectiveness, leadership, emotional stability. Yeah. And encourage them, making masculinity out to be a real and necessary thing, and its acquisition something honorable and desirable, and the fact that they're willing to define it outright feels bravely countercultural. Well, yeah, what's the problem with that? Take BAP's laughable yet weirdly compelling depiction of the masculine ideal, attractive in part because of its transgressiveness. Imagine a Mitt Romney, but different. A Romney who is actually capable of acting like he looks. That's funny. That's funny. This Übermensch, I don't speak German, I don't know what that is, as a modern day Alcibiades. Well, I feel ignorant right now. As one admiring reviewer of BAP's Bronze Age mindset puts it, a piratical man of adventure who attempts to engineer a coup in the United States, sleeps with Vladimir Putin's wife, and then dies fighting the U.S. empire alongside wild tribesmen in Afghanistan. Okay, they have to take all of this extreme stuff. I don't hear anything about family court or the actual struggles. A similar energy infused a documentary called The End of Men by now former Fox News personality Tucker Carlson. I've not heard of this. A trailer for which captivated the internet in the spring of 2022, bathed in soft lighting and accompanied by a military-esque soundtrack, ripped, shirtless figures, flipped massive tires, shotguns, wrestled each other, and chugged raw eggs. A fully made man stood on a mountaintop, head tipped back and arms outstretched, his genitals obscured by what looked like a giant USB stick emitting red light. I have a feeling that's not true, but I haven't seen it. I'm thinking that's not true. Why do women hate? Why are they acting like they hate masculinity so much? What's wrong with any of that? It's not our thing. But it's not. What's the problem with it? Anyway, quote, "Once a society collapses, then you're in hard times," end quote. A British inflected voiceover intoned. These hard times inevitably produce men who are tough. men who are resourceful, men who are strong enough to survive. They go on to reestablish order, and so the cycle begins again. Indeed. And that's where we're going. That's just it. That's what I see happening. The imagery might be ridiculous, but the message is clear. Even as masculinity comes under attack, real men still exist, and this, blonde, chiseled, violent, is what they look like. Why is it violent? They shot a gun, they're wrestling each other, so that to them that's violent. Because we're women. We gotta stop trying to define what men do, trying to say if what they do is okay. Who the heck put us in charge? We act like we're in charge. We need to stop it. That's what this tone is. Like the men are children and the women are the parent. And like, you stop that now. That's what I get from this. The imagery might be ridiculous. I'm just thinking about how women look to men. I don't want to get in a competition about who looks ridiculous. Oh boy. Woo. Okay. Started out getting angry because of the Dr. Peterson stuff, and it's going to take me a while to calm down. Yes, male dominance is the natural order of things. Without it, the world will fall apart. Yes. Anyway, moving on. Keep reading. Keep reading. This is where the right-wing vision of masculinity runs off the rails. Oh, do tell. Do explain how that runs off the rails. Much of the content in the online men's space is misogyny, masquerading as being simply pro-male, advocating a return to a strict hierarchy in which particular kind of man deserves to rule over everyone else. I feel seen. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. But it's not misogyny. Decent advice becomes an on-ramp to darker viewpoints. Ooh. You can get darker viewpoints. You can get from Tate urging his followers to work hard to his announcing that women are property within seconds. Yeah, I don't, Andrew Tate and it's not the same. This is what they do. They try to take something like what I say or what Dr. Peterson says, not that I'm at all on his level, but and put that in the category of an Andrew Tate. No. But nice try to make us all look like that. I'm not saying women are property, and neither is Dr. Peterson. Not even close. But you want to take all of this and put it in that category. That's what they do. So if you have any sort of position on anything, they go, oh, you're a Trumper. Oh, you're a this. Oh, you probably support so-and-so. For example, I talked about the Whatever podcast in another video, and I said about the guy Andrew Wilson or whatever his name is that goes on that show sometimes, and he has all the facts, and he will, he's a good one to debate them. And I said something about him in a positive way that and somebody said, oh, you're an Andrew whatever fangirl, I'm out. And I'm like, I think I just said something that I like that he does on the show. But people nowadays, especially people towards the left, they want to put you in a category. Be like, oh, you're a this. Oh, you're a that. And it's convenient for them when they want to, malign a whole point of view or masculinity in general is say, well, it's this. Well, it's violent. Well, you better be thankful it's violent sometimes, because who do you think protects you from the bad guys? Was it violent when they stormed the beaches of Normandy? Yeah. Are you glad they did it? Is it violent to, go to war and stop the people that follow the German guy with the little mustache? Yeah, but I bet you're glad they did it. So, you know, it's convenient. Convenient. All right, now where was I? Meanwhile, politicians such as Hawley are eager to ascribe men's increasing dysfunction to malice on the part of women, progressives, and elites, instead of the true cause. Oh, she's going to tell us the true cause. I'm so excited. This is going to fix everything. That was sarcasm if you're reading closed caption. The true cause. Major social, economic, and cultural changes that in some cases, North American Free Trade Agreement, anyone, began with conservatives, and in others, the Equal Rights Pay Act, were long overdue moves towards justice. And for all the overheated rhetoric deployed to engage men's sympathies, what's mainly on offer is the impossible suggestion that they reenact the lives their grandfathers led, followed by encouragement to blame society when that inevitably fails. Wow, that was some mental gymnastics. Like, it's literally difficult to read it. My brain reads it and it's going along and she's trying to lead us down this like path of logic, and my brain stutters because it's like, no. No, she's right about the whole be like your grandfathers. And by now it's like great grandfathers, because that was better and that was the way it should be. These people are living in this weird bubble where if you have a college degree, that means you're successful. And if you don't, well, you're a failure. Social identity theory. Oh, this is painful, you guys. Social identity theory says people inherently protect their identities, and when their identities are maligned in public, the natural response is to stand up for what they see as fundamental to their being. Is your masculinity being challenged? Act even more masculine. Defend masculinity more aggressively than ever before. Glorify its stereotypes, even the worst ones. I think of all identities, men are doing that the least, I think. You see that more with other groups. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But I think you guys know who I'm talking about. Of course, a masculinity defined solely in opposition to women, or to the gains of feminism more specifically, doesn't provide a true roadmap to the future. We don't want to go to your future. We don't want to go there. You said the future is female. We don't want that. Okay, we don't want that. This is not the future that we want. Perhaps most alarmingly, many of the visions of masculinity these figures are pushing are wildly antisocial, untethered to any type of good. Family is good. God is good. All of Jordan Peterson's 12 rules for life are good. Men are urged to situate themselves in a mythic story in which the world was always meant to be under their control. The fact that it no longer is becomes fuel for defensiveness and a victim complex, one that has corrosive and tragic effects. You guys. They are victims in this. And they are acting like victims the least of all the other supposed victim groups. Men don't need to be urged to situate themselves. They're not group-minded. And it's not a mythic story. I know what you're referring to. It's not a mythic story. And okay, all right. Even if the Bible and God's order is mythic, look at the outcomes. Look at the outcomes. These men did not build a society to try to oppress people, or that was never the purpose. The purpose was prosperity for everyone. The problem is that some of the people that were given prosperity and rights couldn't be trusted with it. It's like the children were allowed to take over the household, and oh my gosh, it's burning down now, shock. Parents aren't the ones in charge of their kids because they hate their kids and they want to oppress them, right? It's because they love their kids. That is how men have been for society, by and large. Are there bad men? Yes. Are there violent men? Yes. Is that who they are as a whole? No, it isn't. It's obvious. It's obvious that's not who they are. But unfortunately, those good men who built all this trusted people like women too much. And now, you can't give the reins over to people who don't respect what was built. You can't give the reins over to somebody who does just want to take over, just to take over. And that's clearly what we've done. It's my opinion, but I'm looking at the world, and I'm looking how it's gone like this. And I think especially people in Gen X, we have the ability to know what it was before. We had grandparents, and we know what it was like. We know that our grandmothers weren't chained in the kitchen, forced, We know they love their grandbabies, and that's their life's, accomplishment, and they're happy about it. We know that. And we see the kids today and the lack of any sort of meaning or truth or direction. And we can go, well, which one is it? And I choose the so-called patriarchy. Is it perfect? Nothing ever is, because humans aren't. But it's certainly better than whatever this is that's coming up. But the thing is that, especially like younger people who don't have a rear view mirror, like Gen Xers do, they're just forward. And they're trained that whatever's in the past is not good, and we need the future is going to be better. But who says? They don't ever think like that. I don't know. Did I read this part yet? If not, I'm going to read it. If I did, I'll read it again. Of course, a masculinity defined solely in opposition to women. Oh yeah, I did. Or to the gains of feminism, more specific. But it's not. You guys aren't. This isn't just in opposition to women. That's their model of it. Feminism is all anti-man. So they assume that anything pro-man is anti-woman, but it isn't. It isn't. Oh, for all its humor, Bronze Age mindset is unquestionably racist, violent, and homophobic. Well, I haven't read it. I can't speak on that. But, let's see, does she give us examples? Its definition of masculinity is predicated on nihilism, barbarism, and the subjugation of others. Well, I'm not nihilistic, and I think that goes more along, that's not healthy and that's not good. And I don't see that as what most men are saying or doing or wanting. Now, Are some men so disheartened with what they've been through that they're borderlining nihilistic? Yes, but it's more internally. Like, what is my purpose? Why am I even here? Not like I'm gonna blow up everything. No. I get really angry when a woman wants to paint men like this. They're talking about men I love. They're talking about you guys. It's not okay. It's not okay. And Tate's proud misogyny and disdain for social norms, it turns out, weren't just harmless play acting. Last month, he was indicted in Romania on charges of human trafficking, rape, and forming an organized criminal group. I mean, yeah, but again, he's not who men are actually following. He's not. But it's who they want them to think is the face of all of this. You guys, that was painful. I feel like I almost need to do another video just to cleanse the palate. Good God. I mean, I knew it was going to be bad when she tried to say what the way out was according to the right, but Lord have mercy, I didn't think it was going to be that. That was a struggle, really trying to paint Jordan Peterson as misogynistic and like they're all just like Andrew Tate, and it's all racist. I mean, at the end of the day, it seems to be how they shut everybody down. And it's not once have I come across that. This is not reflective of real men and their real experiences, their real struggles, their real characters and desires. This is not who men are. I don't know who she's talking about, but she's not talking about you guys. But thanks for hanging with me on that. The next portion is a mainstream reluctance to define or speak up for men. Yeah, because they're doing what you just did. Define. Men don't need to be defined. Stop trying. Women, you're not in charge. Sit down. Or at least, you're not in charge of men. Can we at least agree on that? No. Who are the tyrants? Who are the oppressors? I don't know. I see women trying to tell men what to do and how to be and define masculinity and say it's toxic and you should do this and sit down and be quiet if you're a little boy. That's all I see. I do not see it the other way around. I see women crying about it, but I don't actually see it happening. Where are men telling women what they need to be? They're saying what they prefer, but they're not trying to control it or make it so. But we are approaching hard times. Wait, I have my white pill. Hang on. Wait, I have the white pills. Look, I mean, yes, they're Tic Tacs, but still, let's take a white pill. Let's take a white pill. White pill is that we're approaching hard times. And hard times, it has caused men to really awaken. Even if they don't have a father, a lot of them, Gen Z is the most conservative generation, is what I'm hearing. Why? And it's the men. It's because they're looking around, they're like, oh, this isn't good. This isn't working. White pill. So they're like, well, what's the opposite? And they're going that direction. Makes sense to me. So the white pill is, this cannot last. This is not sustainable. Women can't run things. Women can't be in charge. Men are walking away. And the more they do, the more women will correct. They will correct. They will start to see what's happening and they will correct. Oh, that hurt. They will. I don't know when, but it'll be, I mean, it's definitely in a future that I can envisage now. And I couldn't a couple years ago. So, all right, for those of you who stayed with me until now, yay. So, look who's back. Okay, it's the unicorn. Unicorn story, in case you're new. That's a blanket that my sister gave me. She gave it to me because I had a horse when I was little that was very, very white. And so reminds me of that horse. So we put it back. Somebody said, you should keep it if it's something you like. So I put it back. And I do like it. So, but we have a little more decorations over here. And that one right there, that's actually an old publication of Grimm's fairy tales. I'm so excited because Cinderella is in there as one of them. I read a little bit of the beginning. I've never read the Grimm's fairy tale. I've heard about some of the things in it, but I've never read it. I started to read it and I was like, ooh, we should read this on the channel. And I can react to the difference and we can be like, wow, Disney was going woke, in the 20th century with the way they deleted some things from that story. So anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me and suffering through that horribleness. But I know you have to suffer through that kind of stuff through life. So, anyway, I want you guys to take care of yourselves. Do something that feeds your soul. And sometimes it means go outside, touch grass, or whatever it is that, feels rejuvenating. And I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.